This is Shan Chandrasekhar welcoming you to another delightful part of our South Asian programming across the country. We have an extremely distinguished guest in the studio here with us today. We've featured some of the finest motion picture artists, producers, directors, performing artists and great playback singers of international stature, Hollywood personalities. But we are delighted to have an extremely talented young lady who is now, of course, of international fame. She's won the hearts of millions with her music. She has sold 12 million copies of her album Made in India. None other than your favorite and the lovely Alisha. Alisha, it's a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Alisha, hearty congratulations to you. What a job you've done. You've captured the hearts of millions around the world, and our congratulations on the different awards that you've received. One being the Asian Viewers' Choice Award.
Yes.
Tell me about this award that you received.
This was when I did Made in India, and I got, the Billboard Award for, the Asian Viewers' Choice then, because it sort of put a dent, in the global map for India. This was like the first time an Indian pop album sold so much and in such large quantities. We had music video for the first time, and that, I think, catapulted me to that, level of fame, So all around the world, it was like Alisha Made in India, and it was such a great crossover song, really, not only to Indians, in India, but all over the world. So it created that euphoria. It was the right timing, making Indians everywhere really proud of, who they are, and it just did everything that, I dreamed of.
Alisha, everybody calls you the Madonna of India. How does it make you feel?
Well, the parallels are a bit, I should say, strange, and not really strange. I expected it, because I'm supposed to be very rebellious, brazen, very outrageous in my, attitudes. So I guess that's why the comparisons come through, but no. I think I'm still very much a bit timid and shy. I don't think I would go that crazy, in terms of sexuality, but
you're blushing.
I'm flattered, and yet I really don't compare there. No.
You've been described now, you've actually put Indian music on a different perspective. You're definitely the princess of pop in terms of music. Ravi Shankar did a great awareness by creating, putting Indian music on the world map scene. You've done a similar thing in terms of pop music.
Yeah.
So tell me about this breakthrough concept.
Well, back then when I started off, it was very difficult, because playback singing was mostly the way to kind of, get there. And I had to really hang in there to break the mold, to kind of bring indie pop, make people aware of Indian pop. They kind of disregarded it initially as some kind of alien form of music. It was like too way out for them. But I stuck in there. I did a bit of playback singing, with a couple of films.
We're doing a special on Alisha. Over to you, Alisha.
Hey, you're looking at me, Alisha, on ATN, and I'm Made in India, one in a billion.
Made in India was a number that was, I guess, it made the hit parade in every radio station. It had the largest amount of play, from what I understand.
Yeah.
The music video had the largest amount of exposure in every music channel all around the world, not just in the Indian subcontinent.
Yes, it became almost like a pop anthem, and in about a week we decided this is the video we're going to go with. We decided that we're going to give it a very, well, an Indian look, of course, with the white tigers, this gorgeous male model. And we wanted to put elements of, yoga, everything that's Indian, little touches of it, the yoga bit, the Kathakali dancers, and, the whole thing about she's rejecting all these guys, and then she goes for Mr. Made in India, who comes out of this box, leaps out, and it was, we shot the whole video in 3 days.
Wow.
I think after we finished, we were looking at it and I said, wow, this guy is going to upstage me when he comes out of the box, which he did, the male model then, Milind Soman. He was very, very good. And everyone was like, this is either going to make it really big or, well.
Did you ever think when you did this that you yourself, did you underestimate, for instance, that matter in terms of its potential success?
No, I had a gut feeling about it. There was something in the song that really was very, very new. The sound, it was very fresh, and I felt this is really going to create some kind of waves, and it did.
People were rushing to you in Bombay. You couldn't even go out shopping after that. I mean, people were crowding around you with autographs. So tell me about the youth. How you tremendously attracted the youth in India at that time.
Well, I think the whole euphoria started with this, I am Indian and I'm proud to be Indian. So the whole timing, of course, as I said, the song caught on because it had this whole Bhangra reggae kind of groove.
Right.
You could dance to it, move to it. The lyrics, struck the right chord,
Right.
And of course, the video did the rest. The whole magic was there. So I think everything just helped, The White Tiger too.
Layla.
Yeah.
And it had the Middle Eastern flavor. Now tell me a bit about Layla.
Well, Layla, initially, I'd gone down to Dubai, and during the show, I met one of the Middle Eastern artists who's very well known. They're called Raga Balama. And he was singing this song. It's called Ya Hayati in Arabic. And I was like, wow, this is such a great song. Maybe I should, do an Indian version of this, write it. And then, of course, we sought his permission and we recorded the song. And it turned out wonderfully because, I wanted to also capture the Middle Eastern market because Made in India also sold very well, not only all over the world, but a lot in the Middle East. And I said, this is a great track and let's record it, And it turned out really good. Then, of course, we did the video for it, came out good too.
And I noticed, my God, you had at least about, I would say, half a dozen costume changes in this, or even more.
Oh, I can't remember. Okay.
So tell me about your music video and costume designs. Who designs your costumes for you?
Well, we have a designer working on it, but generally I tend to kind of oversee whatever, my styling myself, because I know what works for me best and what suits me best. So I'm a bit fussy on that.
That's good. Would you like to look at Layla with me?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, here's another delightful piece. You went on to make another song that became very popular, and again it became a music video as well. Was within the top 10. That's Om Namah Shivaya. Now that was interesting because in your music you used brass and sitar together, and your music was slightly different on this, and you had a Buddhist influence, and part of it was shot in, it looked like Thailand or someplace.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Well, Om again was a real departure from what I'd earlier done. In fact, people thought it was too risque. To suddenly from pop, do something that sounded so, well, spiritual to them. But I wanted to bring across a message of saying, you got to believe in yourself. You got to find that inner peace within yourself. And what better way, to make the youth understand than to chant something that, has been, all over. I mean, it's so, Om is such an Indian sound. I mean, and I said, this is the best way to kind of establish it with the youth. And I did try it, although I got a lot of brickbats for it.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did. But, it was again a challenge. I had to grow, as an artist, evolve and do, different things, reinvent yourself all the time, But then, this was my way of doing it. We shot parts of it in Bangkok, parts in the studio. I wanted to bring the whole spiritual aspect to it, as I said.
So was it because of the fact that, others were, were there genuine criticism?
I think you know, audiences are too used to seeing me being the spunky, lively, you know, outrageous Alisha. Always associated and synonymous with dance music, you know, with my pop style.
Right.
So this was a bit too much of a departure for them. But you know, there were people who really thought, you know, this is different. It sort of didn't do too well on the charts, but hey, I was very pleased with it, you know.
That's great.
Yeah, I made a statement, you know.
That's great. Well stated too. Very often when top stars and artists like Alisha start performing, they can easily get stereotyped, you know, sometimes by mistake, thinking that there's only one style. But a true artist's colors come out when they can perform in different roles, different types of music. And here is a classic example of what Alisha had done. Alisha, another piece of yours that was an absolutely beautiful number was a soft piece,
yeah.
Tujo Mila.
Tujo Mila, yeah.
You know, very melodious. The music itself is absolutely, you know, it makes you ecstatic. Soft, but very well shot, very romantic.
Yes.
And again, a supermodel with you
yes.
on this music number. Now tell me about this particular number.
Tujo Mila actually happens to be one of my favorite ballads, you know. It's so sweet. And it brings the whole Indianness out, very, very feminine side. Even when I was singing it, I had to really feel, you know, that feminine feeling within me, you know, to bring that sweetness across. And of course, the video director said, you know, I want to bring moments in the video which are very, you know, special. And that's how we, you know, got around to filming this particular song. And I had great fun, you know, with the popcorn scene and running around the rain. And, you know, I felt, hey, this is very not Alisha, but yet, you know, I kind of blended in with what I was, you know, asked to do. And it still remains to be one of my favorite songs.
Can you just hum the first line for us?
तू जो मिला चांद खिला आज नया रंग छाने लगा दिल ने कहा मैंने सुना चुपके से पानी बरसने लगा.
Alisha, there was another very, very popular song of yours.
Just Lover Girl.
Oh, Lover Girl.
I just want to be your lover girl.
Beautiful beat. Now tell me about this particular song.
Yeah, that was actually one of the songs on the Made in India album.
Right.
And that actually really took off even more than Made in India.
Right.
And it became so popular with the kids, you know. Everyone was like, oh, you want to be my lover girl. And it's always the most demanded song on my shows. So it's like, oh, wow.
And a lot of it had a lot of East and West together.
Yes, we had a rap on it.
Right.
And it was the first time really that, you know, we did this rap on an Indian song.
Right.
And
who did the rap?
There was a singer from, we recorded the whole Made in India album in London.
Oh, right, I see.
With Bidu, of course.
Right.
And he brought in one of the rappers there.
Right.
And it really stood out, that whole song, the concept, the video again. Like you said, you know, bringing in the whole rap groove, the bhangra again, mixed with it. It was a really cute dance track, you know. The video again was cute because I had to wear this bandana and act like a rapper, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I can do this, but...
Where did you learn to dance, by the way?
I don't think I'm really a very good natural dancer, but I have to really work at it. And I can't do the moves they do nowadays because I have real problem coordinating, but I do my own thing.
No,
you know, just have fun, that's it, you know.
And tell us a little bit about your singing career. How did they discover you in public, for that matter? You know, were you a child artist, for instance, you know, in school?
Yeah, if you trace it back to then, yes. As a child, I did always, you know, take part in a lot of music competitions and stuff like that. And then, of course, the very first break I got was singing a couple of jingles. And then I got a little part in the Indian adaptation of Evita.
Oh, yes, I remember that, yes, yeah.
The Broadway play. And I had this song called Another Suitcase in Another Hall. And there I was, you know, just walking on stage, clutching a teddy bear. and singing this song. And it's strange, but back then I had no stage fright. Today I do.
Somehow that I find that very difficult to believe, but but I will believe. You know why? Because great artists will have their own idiosyncrasies, as they say. So I'm sure you're not an exception to that.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's not just nervous tension. I really get stage fright. It's so difficult to go out there and remember just about everything. Your cues, your lines. It's frightening for me. I don't know why.
That's amazing. But in spite of that, you being frightened, you've done some very big scale live shows. Your live shows have been extremely successful.
Yeah.
In India, in Pakistan, in neighboring countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Middle East, in Europe, UK.
Kazakhstan, yeah.
Yeah, in many countries around the world, So tell me about these live shows, If you were nervous, how can you go and perform in front of thousands of your fans,
Well, I guess once I'm on stage, I just forget, And of course, if the audiences are really receptive, then it really helps, But it's just a whole different trip, another buzz, Sort of creating this rapport with a live audience. There are no retakes there.
Yeah, of course.
It's one take. You got to go out there and do it.
Right, right.
So that's the scary part, and yet it's fun. At the end of it, you're like, oh well, okay.
That's great. Sonia is another big hit now, and you've spent a lot of time and energy. And a tremendous amount of work has gone into this. Tell me about the success of Sonia.
Well, it was my album after a long, duration. I always have this penchant for slipping away into hibernation for a couple of years because I believe that, as an artist, one needs to kind of take that time out. Otherwise, you get burnt out.
Right, sure.
So you need to recharge, come back with a fresher sound, reinvent yourself, you know. And that is when I teamed up with Juhi Chawla, a music producer from the South.
Right.
And we did this album, Sonia, and of course, the song, my favorite, Sulmo. And I told him, Sandeep, I know I have this whole versatile kind of voice. Let's explore everything, let's do every kind of song on the album, right from techno to trance to folk. And again, a little spattering of Middle Eastern. So that's how we came about this album and, did all these various things. And I think it really did very, very well, But again, it wasn't as if I was trying to match up to anything. It was just, I'm going to work, the very best, give it my very best. And you never know what works,
Sonia, Sonia, dil mera le gaya, chura ke chupke chupke, hai dil mera.
I want Alisha to do her own intro.
You're looking at me, Alisha, on ATN, and I'm made in India, 1 in a billion.
Good audience there, of course. Alisha. You mentioned your favorite. It had French influence, obviously.
Yes.
Sulmo, right?
Sulmo.
Sulmo.
Yes.
Now, this is the music video for this was very, very well done, very high quality production, a lot of production value, a lot of effort has gone into it, very exotic in terms of its production. Now, tell me about crossing the boundaries sometimes, because you already reached a certain plateau. Did you now take it for granted that anything that you do obviously would go through? Or did it have a little bit of a controversy, that was in the, background shots?
Yes, I have to thank my video director for that.
It was something that, in terms of music, a major step.
Right.
Tell me about the, initiatives,
I have to thank again my record company. I said, listen, I want to make another groundbreaking video, something that is on par with mainstream videos, that we keep seeing on MTV and V and everything. And he said, sure, but, and of course, the bottom line is budgets. But I said, hey, I want to go to Las Vegas and I want to take video director Sanjay F. Gupta, who I think is one of the best we have in India. He really makes videos look like, it's like an art form, every video that he makes, because his camera work is brilliant. And that's when we kind of, you know, we were brainstorming, and I said, listen, let's just go exotic location, tigers again, and let's do something that's really, like I said, international. And so there we were, you know, in Las Vegas with the white tigers and shooting this video. And I said, the song itself was suggestive. It was sensuous. You know, my vocals, if you heard the song, they're very low, you know, and it had this dance techno kind of feel to it. And it had to be sexual. I mean, it had to be, you know. I don't know if it offended anyone, but I personally loved it.
That's wonderful. Now tell me about the, you know, the sexuality right now. You know, with the advent of MTV being available, you know, and lots of, you know, HBO is now available in the Asian subcontinent. So the impact of Western over-the-air satellite communications, you know, with the advent of technology now, the world is getting smaller. Tell me about the influence of this now.
Well, there's always the good and the bad. I mean, you know, there are advantages, you know, like for Indian audiences, it was a bit of a shocker. You know, suddenly from just listening to film music and audios, and suddenly they're being hit with so much sexuality on especially on music videos. It was like, oh my God, where is this coming from? But then they always console themselves saying, well, this is not our culture. And then of course, when I, you know, go out there and do a video that is a bit, you know, a bit shocking, well, you get a few comments, but I think they're kind of growing with the times, you know. And like I said, there's always the good with the bad.
What kind of feedback did you get on this one?
A lot of my friends, you know, especially from the big cities, thought it was wow. It was like, oh my God, we didn't believe this was an Indian video, you know. And there were some, you know, very conservative people who thought, yeah, there were, you know, elements of too much sexuality, but there was nothing that I was overtly doing. It was, you know, just the whole atmosphere and the ambience of you know, the dancers and everything that came through. And well, that was another statement.
Alisha, each statement of yours has relevance. In this particular case, I'd like you to lead us into your statement. Just give us the first verse of it.
Oh, well, basically, you gotta just like, you know, have the freedom to express yourself. That's what music gives you, you know. It's an artist's prerogative to really go out there and give a reflection of her own personality on through her music.
Give us the first verse.
Of Soulmo?
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh my God, I have to. छू के आई हूँ मैं आसमां, ख्वाब है या कोई दास्तां, प्यार का है ये कैसा नशा, झूमे नाचे है मेरा जहां, ख्वाब है या कोई दास्तां.
You know, let's discuss another song of yours, Ishq.
Ishq, yeah.
It's from the same album. Now, this song is beautifully done, very melodious. And here, this is the song in which, you know, in fact, the music video is very tastefully done as well.
Yeah.
And this is where, you know, you have, you know, stuff shot from in front of a cathedral in a church, horse and carriage, and, you know, and where, you know, it's just very tastefully done, very different from the others.
Ishq is a song that, again, is very close to my heart because it puts across my ideas for what I believe about love. Ishq se ishq hai, which means I believe in love, and I'm always in love with love.
That's neat.
And the song itself had a lot of Sufi elements, you know. The whole arrangement which we did was very Sufi. It sort of creates this whole intoxicating influence, you know, as you listen to it. And we were just harboring on the same ishq se, mujhe ishq se ishq hai. Ishq is always such a painful thing, you know about love. We always go through that, and heartbreaks always help, you know. So I guess I've been through that feeling of being in love and out of it, and, you know, it's just one of those things that...
You know, this is fascinating. You know, you as an artist, do you feel that sometimes a personal experience of yours influences you very much with the way you sing, the way you feel, the way you move?
Always. Always. You always have to take from that, you know. Especially, well, I feel in my music, it always helps, you know, to kind of reflect on certain emotions that you felt, strong emotions, and you know, feel especially when I'm singing, I perform it. I don't just sing it.
Right, right.
There's a lot of performance coming through.
Absolutely, of course, yeah. It's very evident, you know, in every one of your songs.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Your music videos, I noticed, you have people from different parts of the world. So you're truly multicultural in terms of an international cultural, racial, and religious representation. Is this something that you're sort of consciously inborn in you, that you feel that you want to propagate a greater brotherhood, you know, among people?
Absolutely. I think people should, be more aware of, that the music itself is a universal language. It brings people so much closer.
Right.
And why should we demarcate, or separate anything? I mean, it's so global, and I want Indian music to reach out to everyone. They should relate to it wherever they are, and that's why I put, people from all races, religions, everything in there.
That's wonderful. Wow, compliments to you. You have to be really complimented for that.
It's one musical world out there.
It's wonderful that you're uniting people together. That's a great concept. Yes. And you're not just talking about it, because philosophical lectures are easy to deliver, but you're really putting it into action. They say put your money where their mouth is, and that's what you've done. So hats off to you.
Thanks.
Have you not been approached by people to act in movies? You're not only a good singer, you're very pretty. So I'm sure that they would have liked to have featured you, as a heroine in a movie. Have they ever approached you?
Yeah, but I just don't fit into, the heroine mold. I mean, I don't have...
You mean you don't like to run around fountains?
Right, no, no. I would question it constantly, I just can't do anything like that. Besides, I don't know if I could, do the typical Indian dance moves. I'm not such a great dancer, quite honestly. They always associated me as being too westernized in India, And now, of course, every actress you see is very westernized too.
I see. But what about then, you've done some playback singing as well. They've taken some of your songs and featured in the movies.
Yeah.
Now, are these songs that you did the compositions yourself when you released your singles or your CDs, your albums? Did they take the song out of there and put it in a movie, or did they actually compose a song and ask you to sing for a movie?
No, it was like they, have this movie and a situation, and they would call in the singer, and the music composer would, have the song ready for me when I walk in.
Right.
And it's like a soundtrack from a movie.
Right.
And
we've done a few of those.
Lots of them, yes. I always had actually, strangely enough, a parallel career in playback singing. Although I preferred to sing in my solo albums because it gives me that identity, about being myself, as an artist.
Right.
But playback music is so much part of the Indian psyche. You have to kind of move in there alongside, to kind of really get to the core.
Any popular songs that you can remember?
Oh yeah, there was the song from Mr. India.
Find any difference between when you release your own music numbers, you have a lot of independence as compared to restricting and being, like singing for another person's composition in a movie?
Yeah, you see, for someone like me, it's hard to be behind the scenes.
Now, do they tell you when you go and sing, for instance, in a movie, do they tell you that the heroine is, like this time it's going to be Kareena Kapoor, or is it going to be Aishwarya Rai? Now, does it make any difference at all to you in terms of how you sing?
Not necessarily, but yeah, it kind of helps, to put in the correct attitude, the correct performance to the song and the situation. So I think it would help.
What can people expect from Alisha in the next couple of years?
Well, I'm actually traveling and exploring new sounds, trying to evolve as an artist, because obviously I don't want my sound to get stagnant. As an artist, it's so easy to kind of slip into that, And this is why, again, I need those breaks, which everyone always, complains about. But as an artist, I need them.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just one of those things where I'm meeting with a lot of people, producers, composers, to find out what would really work best for the next venture, for the next project, And I really want to give my new album a global edge. I really do want to.
That's great. So. What about, entering the worldwide scene with an album completely done in English, for that matter, with a little bit of a influence of just a couple of words in Hindi?
Absolutely, because I think it's essential for me because I also sing in English.
Right.
For me to, you know, cross over between English and Hindi,
right.
and you know, give the audiences a song that would work, you know, everywhere in the world. Why just to Indians, you know?
Yeah.
People all over.
The advantage for you is that you're a communicator. You're not just a singer and a performer. You know, when you walk on stage, the adrenaline in you keeps going, and then the audience, the bigger the response from the audience, I'm sure you get greater energy out of that. Tell me about this interaction between you and the audience.
As you said, I mean, the adrenaline definitely does get really pumped up, you know, but more so when the audience is really receptive. But I am shy, you know, as I said, I mean, a lot of people don't believe it. But I do suffer from a lot of stage fright when I go on. But once I'm there, I'm out there, then I just forget, you know. I just loosen up and get that energy, God knows from where. You know, and song after song, it just comes to me. And it's strange, though, you know, I may seem like a great communicator to you, but when I'm on stage, I don't know what happens. Sometimes I just clam up. And I'm like, oh my God, I really have to work at it, you know. Every artist has to sort of, maybe to them it comes naturally, but for me, I have to work at it. I have to know, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and work on a couple of lines, or, you know, things like that. I mean, what am I going to say, you know, when they throw things at me? I have to be ready for everything, you know.
That's
so
great.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're sad?
When I'm sad, I listen to my favorite song and cry.
You listen to your own songs? Does it give you a sort of a reflection? Suddenly you want to listen to your own music, not just only the current ones, but something that you did before?
Yeah, but usually I'm very critical of my own work, so I would normally take another song and, you know, like really get blue over it, and blue with it, rather.
And what do you do in your spare time?
I can't say I read at all, but I love to cook occasionally.
Really?
Yeah, I find it's great therapy. It's also very, you know, for an artist, it's a nice way of relaxing. It's creative.
What do you cook?
Fusion cooking, all sorts of things. I mix all kind of spices, you know. Toss in soya with pasta, you never know. It depends on my mood.
What changes have you seen in India yourself in the last, say, 10 years?
I think, you know, with television taking, you know, over almost, I think people have really become very aware of things around them. I mean, you know, what was not accessible to them then is now, you know, the world is at their feet. They can see what's going around. They're very aware of every little thing, not only music, but politics, every which way.
If you had a choice of becoming a doctor, you know, and a singer, and a big popular star like you, what would you choose?
The same thing all over again. I think I'm very happy with what I'm doing.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you in the program with us. May God bless you and give you lots of energy and, you know, and many, many years of, you know, prosperity. And let's keep hearing more and more hit albums from you, one after the other.
Thank you.
Alisha, it's an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.